So it's kind of crazy that I'm even making this video because I didn't think I would live past 20 years old. If you don't know me, I'm Jen Sui. I'm a soul whisperer and a certified life coach. I'm also in training to be an RTT therapist this year, which is really exciting. And my sole purpose is to help guide people back home to themselves. So what that means and what that really looks like comes from my story. So when I say I didn't think I lived past 20, that's not an exaggeration. I didn't know what life would look like. I was in college and I remember on my 20th birthday feeling so stressed and like really uncertain, like I was walking on eggshells and I just had like this impending doom almost. I didn't know if I was gonna be like hit by a car and die. I didn't know if someone was gonna come out and kill me. I didn't know if I would just like drop dead. Like I didn't know what was gonna happen, but I just couldn't see myself living past 20. I didn't know what I was gonna do with my life. And I think another part of it too is there was so much of me that just didn't want to live, that didn't have a purpose in life, just didn't know really who I was, didn't really know how to like figure it out either. The only piece of identity that I really had, that I resonated with, that felt like it was truly myself, was me being a vegan. But since the 5th grade, I had struggled a lot with suicidal ideation, with these life-ending thoughts, with not feeling enough, feeling like I had to be perfect in some way, but I didn't know what that bar was. It just kept moving. It just was the next thing, the next grade, the next accomplishment, the next award. And then it became being hyper-focused on my body and not wanting to be fat, not wanting to, have a really big butt and like hips, or like, needing to be really skinny. So I developed like disordered eating habits. I hated myself, hated my body, had the most awful critical, like, self-talk that no one should have. And unfortunately, I think a lot of us do. And then I was sexually assaulted at 14 and didn't tell a soul for 4 years and harbored that shame within me, and felt like it was my fault. Say hi to Cleo. She's my emotional support animal that I got when I was in college, which brings me to that actually, where I had gotten to such a deep and dark place with my own thoughts of my life, with where I thought my life was going, that in my first semester of college, moving away from Michigan to go to school in California, I was hospitalized for 3 days. And what led up to that was me having these life-ending thoughts, feeling like I was just hustling all the time. I was so burnt out from, trying to get into college, trying to like be top in my high school, from trying to like keep up with grades and extracurriculars and all these things. I had no passion for life, no drive for life. I mean, being able to care about your future and want to build a future in school, build friendships and all these things also requires you to like yourself enough to want to be here. And I had just reached a point where I didn't really care anymore. Typically, I'm really stressed out about like tests and like all those things. And it was finals week and I felt nothing. I felt complete disconnect. I had no emotions. I had nothing to feel. I couldn't even cry. I couldn't even feel stressed. And that was when I knew something was wrong. I thought that getting a cat would really help. And like, honestly, it did. But like, there were steps before that I had to take. So I had scheduled to see the director of the health center at my university and to talk about getting an emotional support animal, to see if I could have a cat live with me on campus. And she started off by just asking me how I was doing as a first semester, freshman at USC. And I totally broke down. I just like couldn't stop crying. I felt awful. I had never felt like so much pain and like shown it to a random stranger, like it within just minutes of meeting them. And she booked me in to see a psychiatrist the next day. And in that meeting, I was essentially told that I should go and be hospitalized because that would be a helpful treatment, and kind of that if I didn't agree to it, then they would have to do it anyways. And I will never forget what happened on the first day, which was that I saw a girl attempt suicide. And I had decided right then and there that that was not gonna be me, that I was not this bad. I never believed that I was somebody who was at risk of actually following through on life-ending thoughts. I was always the friend, like the mom of the friend group, the one who was giving, people talks about how they're deserve to be here and they're worthy and they shouldn't kill themselves because they have something to live for. Yet in myself, in my own heart, I didn't feel like I was enough. I didn't want to live. I didn't want to be here. I felt so unseen, so like purposeless. Yet at the same time, since I was little, I also have this spark inside me that told me that I was meant to do something really big here. I was meant to like change the world. And I think as I got older, I started to suppress that idea and just like that, like, who am I to do that? Like, that doesn't make sense. That's like so fantastical to think that you can change the world, right? But when I was in the hospital and I was in the bed where I was sharing with multiple other women, where I was on my period and they wouldn't give me, tampons, where there was no door on the bathroom, where they had to like cut the wire out of my bra so that I couldn't use it as like a weapon or something. When I felt like so dehumanized by a system that so obviously did not care about the well-being of the individual because it is a broken system, it is underfunded, it is just misunderstood so much, I had decided then and there that it was going to be my purpose, that I was going to do something to change that. And this was when I was 18, before I knew that life coaching was a thing, before I, could conceive that I could even live past 20. And I'm getting emotional because it really does hit so much of why I'm here now and why I do what I do. And why I think it's so important to listen to your heart, listen to yourself, to say fuck it and go to bed, don't pull the all-nighter, set the boundary, don't go to the dinner, break up with the person, that you don't want to be with, cut off those friends. Like life is so short, but also so painfully long. And to live without that spark, without that purpose, without the knowing of why you're here, or to have anything lighting you up to guide you in a direction, to feel so disconnected from yourself and from a community, not being able to feel seen, not being able to feel supported in the way that you really need to be supported, not having that space held for you and being able to receive when you're the one who's always giving every single ounce of your heart and soul to other people, that you have nothing left for yourself and you don't even deserve that you are worthy of receiving that back. That is utterly fucking painful and miserable. And of course, you wouldn't want to be here if you were experiencing that day in and day out, and still expected to care for yourself, to feed your body, to move your body, to go out and do work. So when I made that decision in that hospital where I decided this was not going to be my life, I was going to do something, I gave myself that hope, that inspiration, that there was going to be change, that this was not going to be forever. And I started going down that path to break up with a boyfriend, to, say fuck it and go to bed, to not have to stay up. It snowballed me into all of these actions where I was finally taking care of myself and the way that I needed to honor who I was and how I was feeling. I changed my major from something within business to being able to pursue what I really enjoyed, which was psychology and the health and the mind and the body. I pursued a minor in entrepreneurship because honestly, I could never see myself working in corporate to work under somebody else. That was one of the things that made me feel like I wanted to escape life so badly, was just to feel like I had no autonomy over my schedule, over how I did my work, and whether or not it was good enough. I didn't want to be held down to that. I started my own vegan club at the university that I was at because I felt like there was this missing gap, this division between the two that existed on campus, and I thought, why not make it better? Why not combine these things and do something that I'm really passionate about, that I really care about, for a mission that I really was passionate about? I started meal prepping and cooking myself, in part to procrastinate from doing the homework that I didn't want to do, but also to show my body the love that I know that it needed after years of abuse, of calorie counting, of restriction, of shaming itself. Really being able to care for it in a different way. I danced more. I used my body and did workouts that felt good to me for as long as I wanted to, not for as long as I felt like I had to. I even did the cheesy affirmations where I wrote down I am enough and all these things on sticky notes and put them in my bathroom mirror and recited it to myself, even though it made my skin crawl. I went to Portland for my spring break. When I saw all these other people go to, Cabo and stuff like that and get drunk, I wanted to go to freaking Portland, Oregon, because they have an incredible vegan food scene, and I spent half my week there in the rain traveling on the bus with a friend to go get a vegan croissant at the best bakery ever. And I felt so happy. I felt so fulfilled. I felt like I was doing exactly what I wanted to do. And all these little changes bit by bit led me to going to study abroad in Australia. Again, because I loved vegan food, and Melbourne has an incredible vegan food scene. And that is where I had learned to feel present, where I had felt gratitude for life and for myself for the first time in my entire life, where I felt it in my body and there was no words, there was no thinking. It was just a feeling where I was in the sun and felt the sunshine on my face, and I felt warm, not just on my skin, but in my soul. I didn't care that I cut class to go get boba in the city with a friend. I was there to live. I have found my purpose in my own life, which was to live the way that I wanted to live, to express myself in the way that I wanted to express myself, to explore, to create relationships with the people that my soul wanted to connect with. Not who I thought I needed to be friends with, not to care for other people and be somebody else's mom or carer or fixer, but to create friendships where I felt seen and where I could see the other person, where we just connected and bonded over our love and joys and passions in life. It's where I found my calling to become a coach. And I started as a health coach, as a personal trainer, as a nutritionist to help women with their body image, with their food and their anxieties around it, because for me that was such a big struggle that I thought that once I had that body, I was gonna be enough. I would love myself. Boys would come flocking to me. Opportunities would be open for me. I would just feel so confident, and yet I never was. And I wanted these women who were so vulnerable in going deep into diet culture to change their bodies for these reasons that they didn't actually need to. I wanted to show these women another way, that when they came to me to say, hey, I want to lose weight, can you help me lose weight? You know, what should I eat? And like all these things to lose weight, I could be the one who I needed to intervene. Instead of giving me a diet plan, instead of letting me use a calorie counter, instead of making me so afraid of becoming bigger and even stronger in a lot of ways, because women are told that muscles aren't like feminine. I wanted to be the person who could stop somebody from going down that road of decades of self-hatred, of, you know, trying to lose weight, micromanaging their everyday, waking up feeling anxious, every mealtime feeling anxious. Because when I let myself stop that, I could feel that burden lift, and I felt so much energy and passion and inspiration open up in another area of my life that I cared so much more about, which was my business, which was my coaching practice, which was helping the people that I really wanted to help. It was, in fact, to help guide people back home to themselves, to trust themselves, to love themselves, to know that they don't have to do these weird diets. They don't have to play these games with people that they're talking to online, that they meet, that they want to date, that they want to have relationships with. They don't have to do any of that. They're allowed to leave. They're allowed to leave businesses and jobs and things that don't appreciate them, that they're allowed to start building a business that they love, that they care about, that they want to serve people with, that they're allowed to, are worthy of investing in themselves to understand who they are and receive that love, receive that compassion, receive the feeling of being seen and being guided and being witnessed in their, you know, dark nights of the soul and the human experience. And not just always have to be the one that gives or has to like cope with themselves or, you know enough to be able to help themselves and that they shouldn't need other people, but in this practice of just receiving for yourself. And that's what snowballed me into not just being a health coach, but becoming a life coach, but led me to complete my career as a personal trainer and as a nutritionist and go all in on my soul calling, to trade up from something that I just wanted to do and I felt called to do to what I was meant to do. And that, my friends, is what I mean when I say coming back home to yourself. That is what I do when I help guide people at whatever point in the journey that they are in their lives, in whatever direction that they're going to end up going. It's going deeper, going past those layers of conditioning of what you think you should do, of what you need to do, of how you have been living, to discover how it is that your soul wants you to live. It's about bringing that end goal where you are so happy in your life, where you do feel fulfilled, where you have amazing relationships, where you have something like boundaries. And instead of feeling like it's so far away, to bring that closer to you, to give you that hope, that inspiration, the motivation to go after it because you can, because you deserve it, because that's what you're built for. Because at the end of the day, I don't think the universe is that cruel. I don't think the universe puts people on this earth, have given us this body and this life that was born out of stardust to just suffer meaninglessly, aimlessly. There is a reason. There is a reason. There is a purpose that lies within you. And I believe that you know it already, that it is already within you. It is coded within you. And it's just a matter of coming back home to yourself and opening that up, letting your light shine. So if you relate to me, you hear my story and you see yourself in that, I want you to know that there is more life to be lived. And I did not live past 20. That old self, that old version of mine did die. But as I continued to live 21, 22, all the way to where I am now, I feel like I have been reborn. So it's not a bad thing. There's nothing wrong with you to feel like that you don't want to be here because life feels so unbearable, because you don't feel like you can be yourself and all these things. I understand. And there is a choice that you can make to keep living. There is a spark within you that needs to be shown, that needs to be shined on. And you are not the one who has to die. Your life is not yours to take. But that version of yourself, the story of yourself, the way that you see yourself in your head, that you think other people see you as, that version can die. That version can fuck off. And in doing so, you'll find your way. So if you want me as a guide to help you come back home to your soul, you can go ahead and DM me and just start the conversation and we can see if we're a good fit. You can also book a consultation with me directly using the link in my bio. And there you'll also be able to see other people's transformations, people that I have helped, people who have found their own light and continue to live with that light growing every single day. I really do hope to hear from you or someone that you know who can, use my help and have that honor of guiding your soul back home to yourself. I have so much love for you and I hope you have a beautiful day.